One distinct memory that I have, we had taken a long road trip, and when we do so, we visit a different church every week. We got home that Sunday, we headed to Covenant Church, and driving up the driveway of the church, we heard from the back seat Joy saying, "I'm so glad we're going to Covenant Church this morning." And we thought, why? And she said, "Because they love me there."
If I had to sum Covenant Church up in one word, I would say faithful.
I think I would say consistency.
Christ-like.
Lovingly faithful.
Grace.
Love.
Loving.
I think the word I would use is sunshine. I find this to be a bright place, and I find this to be a place where I'm happy to be a part.
I have been here for, it feels like forever, but I don't think I came with my parents as early as Liz did. So I'm not as ancient as she is. I remember lots of things about that church. I can see the church, I can see the pews, I can see the pulpit, I can see that pulpit there that we still have here with the Pelican. And I can see Francis Schaeffer standing up there and preaching. And
after Francis Schaeffer preached his first sermon, and it was 1943, I believe, in December, my daddy wrote in his diary, he ought to be okay for the church. I remember vividly, mostly, about him, the summer Bible schools that he and Edith would put on. They were 4-week, grueling summer Bible schools.
I remember summer Bible school and how there used to be a little comfort wagon that would come along and sell ice cream for 5 cents outside, and we'd get in the middle of summer Bible school, we'd have a break, and we got to go out with our 5 cents.
That was on Fridays, right?
Oh, just on Fridays. Oh, well, you have a better memory than I do.
The Thanksgiving service at the church, a lot of the moments from those services stand out to me. Yeah, I remember distinctly Roger Hunt standing up after we all thought he wasn't going to make it through the year after his stroke, and then he stands up that Thanksgiving and gives thanks that he's alive, and it was just a wonderful moment of laughing with him and weeping. And
I think Advent tea is always such a nice kickoff to the Advent season and to the countdown to Christmas, and it's a very peaceful time to be with women, to hear a nice message, to sing together, to pray together. And so I haven't been to an Advent tea that I didn't enjoy. And
My favorite memory of my whole life has come from getting married at Covenant Church.
Favorite story, of course, is that we met through Covenant. That it was me being in the Fellows program and Rachel becoming friends with the girls who were there.
I think the best youth event is the senior high camping trip. Yeah. It just really changes you. You just really grow closer to the youth group, and you guys get to do a bunch of cool stuff, like go rafting, and it's just really fun. And every night we would have a campfire, and we were just saying that we hope heaven just has a lot of campfires because it was so fun.
I was never baptized as a child, and so in January of 2003, George baptized me at the church, which was pretty special, and I think it's the only time I've seen John Hancock tear up in public.
We were sitting in about the 4th row from the front, and Matt Lowe was beginning the service, and he quoted from a psalm.
I think it was Psalm 134, which in the NIV has something like, lift up your hands in the sanctuary.
And when he said that, Joseph was sitting on my lap and went in front of everyone, and the whole Presbyterian congregation just broke up.
Yeah.
I think what might surprise people about Covenant Church is that the community is so strong.
The community at Covenant Church is devoted to the truth of God's Word.
The Covenant community is diverse in age, and Covenant does a nice job of bringing together some of the older people with the younger people so we can learn from each other.
It means that I can have people investing in me who know a lot more than me, and I can also invest in younger kids. And I mean, I've gotten to sing in the adult choir with other adults, and then I'm in the youth group with other teenagers and helping out in the nursery with young kids. It's very important for us to grow with each other.
For one thing, I think people really do love one another here. And I haven't noticed that people are judgmental or prejudiced or anything like that. In fact, I think that is quite the opposite.
People not only have served us, but we've seen the people within the church serving and caring for each other, and being an example to us of what it looks like to be involved in each other's lives.
You don't even know people are helping one another because they're doing so in a quiet way and without drawing attention to themselves. But every once in a while you get these little glimpses as you walk in on something that there's a lot of ministering within the body to one another.
There's a lot of people behind the scenes that really make this church work. And a lot of unsung heroes and a lot of prayer warriors, Laverne Ricks and people like that love this church and are a model, I think, hopefully for our generation.
It's just like a refreshing place to be because I can just be loved and I can be myself around these people, and they're like family. And the leaders are just so great. Like, they're just awesome.
We really enjoy one another. At least that's the way it is for me. And look at our friendship. I mean, we've been buddies forever.
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 Truly.
That's his forever.
We people of the Reformed tradition like to talk about God's great overarching story of his redemption of mankind. And I like to think of Covenant Church as being a little microcosm of that, because we did have a beginning, a creation in 1939, and we are full of sinful people and have made lots of mistakes.
As I think about the next 75 years, it's hard not to reflect on the previous 75. And I really hope that we don't, as a church, get the impression that the last 75 years just kind of happened.
Covenant has deep roots, and if they stay true to those roots, I think it can just flourish for the next 75 years or however many years.
Churches are always changing, and they should change, but with change comes trial, and with change comes disappointment. And so I guess my prayer for the church is they can navigate that change well, with the Lord's guidance, and as we need to transition from one age group, basically, to the other without trying to displace anybody, and that's a hard challenge.
We need to be thinking about not what we want the church to be in 5 years. We need to be acting now in ways that shape what the church will be in 75 years. And so a friend of mine often asks his congregation, we need to be making decisions now based on the church we want to hand off to our kids and our grandkids. That's not a question for 25 years from now. It's a question for now.
And so that we'll be able to maintain the riches of our heritage, and at the same time to have the freshness of the present and be forward-looking, that we have a mission to carry out. And our mission isn't simply keeping ourselves safe from the world, but rather being a lighthouse for the world.
Faithfulness is always proactive. It's always asking, what does it mean for us to be faithful in this time and in this place with what the Lord has given us? And the Lord has blessed us in so many ways as a church, and we need to continue by faith to seek His will for what He wants us to be as a church and who He wants us to reach.
I think that Covenant Church will have opportunity that it hasn't had in the past to serve the disenfranchised who will be in their backyards. And I think Covenant Church has the heart to minister in that way. They are committed to incarnational ministry. They're in a strategic location. They have a vibrant school that is committed to justice for the poor, and they have some great opportunities ahead of them.
I'm thankful
To be part of God's redemptive
Work at Covenant Church.
And I eagerly await
The joys of the next step.
75 years.
If you had been in Gertrude Bryce's first grade summer Bible school class, you would know the books of the Bible. So
Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, Deuteronomy, Joshua, Judges, Ruth,
First and Second
etc. And at the very end, Revelation. And you don't think it's stuck. It's stuck.
Oh, it did.
Yeah.
It's amazing.